My ex-cheating wife wants to fix things. My ex-wife is 26 years old, and I am 30 years old. My ex-wife cheated on me 2 years ago. My mental health suffered as a result of the whole incident. I felt deceived at first by the one person I believed was my closest friend. I even attempted to correct it while I was still in shock, but she refused. She wanted for a divorce, which I granted gently, and we split ways, though we spoke from time to time owing to legal matters. I worked hard over the next year and a half to get back on my feet. I made peace with my history, with the betrayal and humiliation I experienced. I began dating again, but nothing substantial came of it. She, too, had other relationships. According to common acquaintances, she was even thinking about marrying a British guy and moving to England. However, this did not work out. She began messaging me again a few months ago. She has devolved into an emotional disaster. She continues messaging and phoning, weeping and expressing her frustration with everything. She continued stating how terrible she was for what she did to me, that she did it not because she loved the man, but because we were arguing too much and she felt like doing something drastic was the only way out. Even her relatives contacted me so that we might reconcile. I informed her that I don't mind assisting her in improving her mental health, but I don't want to be in a relationship with her. But I agreed to visit her since she kept pestering me about being in a relationship. I answered sure, but deep down I felt awful for her, seeing her in such a wretched state, sobbing, despondent, and looking like a shambles. We restarted dating. I even contribute monetarily on occasion, but my spirit simply isn't into it. And she is aware of it. Now she's always harping on me about how I don't love her, how I don't show affection, and so on. I tell her that I wish I could be the way I was 5 years ago. But I'm not the same person I used to be. What occurred to me affected me in ways she would never comprehend. I assure you, it's not even about the past. It's about discovering who I am right now. Emotionally, I don't feel like babysitting anybody. I don't want to invest my energy and time in any lady, whether it's her or someone else. I tell her that maybe time will alter her mind. But, for the time being, I am not there. If she really wants to be with me, she must allow me the space I need to get there on my own, without continuous pressure. But she has completely refused to allow me to take my time. She wants me to post images on social media, tell my family we're back together, which I know they'll be horrified about, and behave as if nothing happened. Every day, she cries and complains about it, which makes me want to leave more. She even involves her relatives in this. They're making me out to be the bad guy for not loving her and offering her the attention she deserves. Keep in mind that she was gone for 2 years. In every way possible, I have bettered myself. I just purchased a beautiful new home. I have a job that pays me $120K and a side hustle that pays me $12K a month. I also hold a master's degree. I'm sorry for her situation, and I really hope she improves. But I get the impression that she is entitled and overbearing. Story 2. Wife cheated. Thinking I'm done. My wife cheated, admits it was a mistake, and believes it should not break us. We have been married for 8 years and have been together for 10+ years. We have an 8-year-old son and a 5-year-old son. My wife is also the mother of 3 children from a previous marriage. When we initially moved in together, 2013, she resigned her job and was able to find an administrative position at the firm where I worked. During that time, she and this guy I knew from that business became friends, and he would carpool with her to the home and vice versa. I didn't think much about it when he would take time off and hang out at my place with me. I felt it was a good colleague connection. Before I met my wife, I knew the man. We had hung out together at Christmas parties, etc., he and his wife and me and my wife, girlfriend at the time, and it appeared like a pretty great relationship. My wife would tell me about what he told her, how his wife was pregnant, and so on and so forth, and I never made anything of it. My wife barely lasted about a year at that job. Except for social media, we never hear from man again. After a few years, I decided to leave my job in late 2017 to establish my own real estate firm. Everything has gone sour since I changed careers. Mostly because the first year I spent all of our funds to stay afloat, didn't generate enough money to replace my previous salary, and our lifestyle suffered as a result. To keep up with bills and house expenditures before my company could take off, I had to accept odd jobs and side jobs that didn't interfere with the start of my real estate profession. After we had our second kid, 2015, her oldest moved out, 2018 to attend college, and I started working in real estate. It was a whirlwind of events that strained our relationship. We no longer desire the same things. She would complain about my distance from her and how I was never mentally present in the home, which I confess caused me to fall into a deep melancholy, and I was in a pretty bad place during my first year in real estate. In 2020, We had an altercation in which she claimed that she was needing attention since I wasn't offering it to her. We had stopped having for months at a period, and while I'm at home, my wife spends the whole day watching Netflix. She doesn't want to put the kids to bed, and she doesn't want to do anything else after she's done with work. And I spent much of my time browsing through my phone. After 3 cancellations, I decided to plan a journey to visit my mother. I asked her to accompany me, but she claimed she couldn't because she needed to quarantine before returning to work, and that I and the boys should go. I'd take my 2 sons to visit my mother. While I was gone, I got a strange sense from her. She was treating me as if we were friends on the phone and over him, which was strange and unexplained. Long story short, when I returned from my vacation, she tells me, "I believe you and I are in the process of splitting up, we haven't had, you don't appear to be happy, etc., etc., etc." I told her I was in a dark place and wasn't feeling emotionally well, mostly because of my relationship with her, and how things weren't going as planned at work, but that I wanted to persevere, and that I think we still have a 50-50 chance of salvaging our marriage if that's how you feel. We begin the process of determining what we will do for our marriage and children, and I begin therapy for my depression. Long story short, I pull myself out of it once again by concentrating on job, exercise, and good diet. My business takes off in ways I could never have imagined, and while all of this is going on, we are sleeping together and still married, trying to figure it out. I get a text from that dude's wife with all of the screenshots of my wife and him talking, meeting up for lunches, calling each other babe, sending each other videos and pictures, her saying how she loves his voice and how he wants to see her, etc. before we had the "I believe we're in the process of splitting up" chat. Even worse, there is a text from 2013, the day I proposed to her, in which she tells him about how I just proposed to her and she had a wet dream with him. I phoned her, telling her we needed to speak about this guy, and asked if she'd met him. She says yes, and there is some serious kissing going on. I confronted her with photos of her and him in what seemed to be a home, and she refused to tell me where it was because it would make it sound worse than it is. I waited a day to process everything, and the following day I told her we were simply raising kids. I don't want to be with you, and I'm leaving as soon as we figure out what we're going to do with the kids. She informs me that this was my easy way out. WTH? I didn't go out and meet with an idiot who can't count to 100, is a terrible father to his children and wife, has been in prison, and is now on probation. God was kind enough to enable me to see this person the next day. I ran into him in an office and kicked his. I informed my wife that they both believed there would be no repercussions for their conduct. My wife and I spoke once I cooled down, and she felt it was simply a little error. Did I mention her last marriage ended in adultery on both sides? She had already given up on me in my mind before she ever told me. Her actions, in my opinion, spoke louder than her words. And now I'm earning good money, have a great real estate business of 3+ years, have shed 20 pounds, and eat well. Reading, etc., and she sees how I've gotten myself out of despair and am doing well, and she thinks she should retain me. But I don't understand how we can go beyond that and return to loving one another when the greatest disrespect has been perpetrated. This thing is over in my mind, and I don't see it any other way.